It's a Monday, which means it is time for the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage. I'm surprised that Joe Yock is here since he's such like a ski. Like,
I'm hitting the slopes.
You're hitting the slopes.
We better get some good videos from your upcoming trip.
They call me Joey Tomba on the slopes.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah, no, we're going to Montana on, we leave Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Shred Fest. And there's a report out there currently that I got from Gracie that there's 8 inches of snow coming in Sunday. So if Yacht Talk happens to get snowed in, it's got to delay his fight, that means Monday is a powder shred fest.
Okay.
And
that's when it gets real.
Are we expecting you back next week for the podcast?
No,
we're not.
No,
well, it all depends on if it's a powder shred fest.
We may have to phone you in.
It's a powder shred. We could phone me in.
Yeah.
I can phone it from the slope.
Yes, we should.
I think that we should definitely have Joe Yock be our guest next week.
That would be great.
And
from the slope.
Just me shredding.
Yes.
We'll just get somebody just me shredding.
If you were to wipe out live with us, that would be the highlight. It would make everything worth. All this was worth it.
Oh my gosh, that would be incredible.
Okay, I'll make a deal with you. If I have a bad wipeout on the slopes, right? Could that get me off the hook for the mile?
No,
it's not worth that much.
What?
Okay.
We have a lot to cover on today's Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage. Liberty, the men are back in the win column. Well, I guess not back, but they beat New Mexico State. But can you believe the Flames are 4-1 on the road this season? I mean, that's pretty good, especially like how difficult it is to win on the road in CUSA play. But took care of business down at FIU. Loved how they didn't let the Panthers hang around. They really just gave it to them. And one of our favorite coaches on the mountain, Richie McKay, has now become the winningest head coach in Liberty basketball history with 260 wins. You know, I'm a little offended the way that he had his halftime and post-game interview. Like he seemed like he actually enjoyed it.
He always treats the road sideline reporters so well.
I mean,
you notice that?
It's a bunch of.
He always really seems to connect with them. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's because
what?
No.
They ask good questions. They ask good questions.
He did not say that.
You guys know what kind of position that I'm in when I have to go up to Richie McKay, especially when they just give up a three or
you tell us about it all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so we'll talk a little bit about Liberty men. Liberty women are still tied for first in CUSA standings as well, with another big win over FIU as well. And then we have Rachel Roupe.
Huge guest.
Huge guest on the show. First time guest.
First time guest. Tell me where the party's at. Roupe.
Will you please make sure? Actually,
she's gonna
I don't need to say.
So far.
Do that. Yeah. I want you to do that, and I want to see her reaction.
Yeah, 100%. She won't know it's going to enter.
Is the CUSA Preseason Player of the Year. I don't think any of us are shocked about that. I'm just going to ask her, why are you so athletic?
Yeah,
that's all
right. Yeah.
Is that a good question?
Sure. I mean, this is why Richie acts the way he does.
Whatever. Anyways, so we'll get to all of that. Yeah. Also, spring game for football has been announced, so we will announce that in just a moment. Yes. But let's talk about Liberty getting that win on the road at FIU. Huge game from Colin Porter, huge game from Talon Peter. Yeah. My question to you, Matt Warner, is should Talon be in the starting lineup?
Okay, so that's a good question, and I actually had
oh my gosh!
See how I did that? See how I did that?
See what happens when you ask a good question?
Act like you've been there before, Emily. Okay? I actually had a buddy text me that very same question, and I said, I think if you're Richie, you say, why mess with a good thing?
Exactly.
He's so comfortable and confident in this role. Javon Moffmer, I looked at it, they said, he had the best plus minus on the team in this win. Moffmer's kind of that silent guy. You don't really talk about him. He doesn't have the 30-point game or whatever, but he's just solid. Mm-hmm. And he just gives you what you need. He's a good offensive player, but he's long, gives you some stuff on the defensive end. So I think why mess with it? Richie has always said, I don't care who starts. It's about the minutes and the opportunities within a game. Mm-hmm. And he says, too, I have 6 starters. That's another thing he says a lot. So I don't think you mess with it. Could he start? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not like he's getting a shortage of minutes or he's not getting opportunity. He's getting plenty of opportunity. In fact, he had 21 in this game, 18 in the first half. I would say, right now, and there's a long way to go, he's got the 6th man of the year in Conference USA locked up, right? My question would be, if it keeps going this route, could a sixth man win Player of the Year?
Whoa.
In the conference. Now, he would have to keep playing at a very high clip. You know, I think he's seventh in scoring right now in conference games in the league, leading Liberty in scoring in conference games. So there's still some guys that are probably more deserving right now. But if he kept playing this way, coming off the bench, I think he's certainly in that conversation for Player of the Year. He's been that important for Liberty and been that dynamic off the bench.
Do you know how many minutes that he's averaging roughly per game?
I can get that.
Numbers that matter. We'll figure that out. If you didn't catch his feature on Flame Central this past week, or you can check it out on the Liberty Flames YouTube channel. Awesome story. I mean, he's so much fun to watch. So if you haven't seen him, then next home game, you definitely got to check.
Here you go. Minutes played per game. Taylor Peters getting 20 minutes per game overall. So that's overall. But in conference play, he's getting 25 a game.
There you go.
So that's the more important number as he's worked his way into the role he's in now. So 25 minutes a game in conference play.
Love it.
A couple reasons that this was such a big win for the Flames. Multiple guys talked about it's a one-game week. So the fact that they got a little bit of extra rest, another big win, makes this a big win. 3 to 4 guys missed practice this past week. A lot of the staff was sick. So they still were able to not only pull it out, but like I said earlier, they didn't let them hang around, which is nice.
The other thing, too, is FIU's played a lot of people close, but they're at the bottom of the league, right? Yeah. You got to win that game. Yeah. And you stay on the road for your next 2 against Jacksonville State and Kennesaw State. Well, all of a sudden, they're 2 of the best teams in the conference.
Yeah.
Jack State is red hot. Mm-hmm. Kennesaw nearly swept the UTEP New Mexico State swing. So all of a sudden, those 2 teams were in the top half of the league. So that made you had to win this one. You had to take care of FIU. They did it. Liberty shot 59% from the field. FIU is not a good three-point shooting team in general. They were 1 of 8 from 3. Tough to win this day and age with that. The only concern, if I'm Liberty, you give up 14 offensive rebounds. That's too many. And speaking of that, you go to Kennesaw State Thursday. They're the best offensive rebounding team in the league. So that's something that if you can cut that number down a little bit, you're feeling even better. But you had to beat FIU.
But here's the thing is that if you can get to the point where you're winning on the road, that brings you a ton of confidence because what it does is you learn how to become comfortable with your routine on the road. And then when you back that up with winning on the road, then you go into games like Jacksonville State, Kennesaw, and you say, okay, hey, we have the confidence. We know we can win on the road. And if you can pull these next 2 off, I mean, and then get back home, that's the huge. When you look at parts that we start breaking up the schedule and the parts of the season, when you look at parts of the season and you have these road games, if you can be comfortable, win on the road, and get these next 2, I think it's going to do – these next 2 games are for parts of the season are huge games.
If you can just split these next 2 and take 2 out of 3 on this road season, you're feeling great. You're in a great spot.
Especially how difficult it is to win on the road in this conference. But Liberty has done well. You mentioned the CUSA men's standings. So it's I don't know the tiebreaker between these top 3, but it's tied for first is UTEP, Middle Tennessee, Jack State, all sitting at 5 and 2, and then you have Liberty, K-State, New Mexico State, and La Tech all sitting at 4 and 3. Is La Tech 4 and 3 or 4 and 4?
La Tech's 4 and 4, but New Mexico State, Kennesaw State, Liberty all 4 and 3. So there you go. There's your top 6.
That's your top 6. And Matt has said it multiple times throughout the season. You need to be in that top 6 when you finish, or it helps, when you finish the regular season, the way the conference play-in goes. So Liberty is, like you said, it's going to be down to the wire. In this
One other shout-out, though, because we've talked about these guys a lot, and we've talked about the bench a lot outside of Taylor and Peter.
Give a shout-out.
Want to give a shout-out. Xander Yates.
Bam.
Gabriel McKay.
Bam.
And Brett Decker combined for 33 minutes in that ball game and scored 12 points.
There you go.
That's
Yates,
what you need.
McKay each knocked down a 3. Decker ended up giving you 6 points, and he got some playing time, not just in mop-up duty, but played some of the first half as well. So you're starting to see those guys give you just enough.
Yeah.
Like if you get 12 a game from those guys, you're not usually. But if you got that, there's no stopping this team. Then. There's no stopping this team.
Again, the road. On the road.
On the road.
You get that.
On that funky.
Get that bench.
Oh, that was my next point.
Yeah,
that
go
awful
for it.
court. I mean, there was a Moffmer. I thought it was a corner 3 early in the game because they have the water, the ocean, all along this side.
It's like the ocean on one side.
I keep thinking, oh my gosh, you're out of bounds. But you can't, I don't know, I mean, maybe when you're actually there, but the 3-point line.
Kind of disappears on
It
TV.
kind of disappears, like with that water line. And I thought Moffmer had a corner 3 early in the game, and it was like, oh, no, that's a long 2. And I'm like, well, he probably couldn't see it because he was in the water.
I have said before, I wonder if FIU, I got to think they steal a point or 2 a game.
Oh, have
because
to.
of people just being uncomfortable of where they are with this weird water court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like trying to figure out where you are. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's different. It's different.
It's very similar to how the Chiefs steal a point or 2 in the playoffs.
From the referees.
Very, very similar.
They love that red. Another shout out is the defense in this game.
Yeah.
Guys guarding really hard. FIU only had 3 assists. Liberty had 15. So really good win for the Flames. Hopefully that they can continue.
Good to have one you can breathe easy.
Oh my gosh,
you
it
know,
was so
it's
nice.
like every game.
That was like almost every night in the ASUN.
Yeah, right. ASUN,
know?
you win by 20 every night. Good to have one that you're like, okay, we can just kind of cruise here to the finish line. I think that is important. And you got a little extra rest. Now you're going to need it because you're going up against 2 of the teams that are playing, 2 of the better playing teams in the conference. And Kennesaw State has 2 of the top, I think, 5 scorers in the league right now. Jacksonville State has been so tough. So, yeah, this is going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, it'll be a good test, but at least you had a game like this where everybody is clicking on all cylinders. Hopefully they get the offensive rebounding, cleared up. All right, so and then congratulations again to Coach McKay.
Let me just say
about
this.
It after, just about like how many people have been through this program. He's made such an impact on so many lives, other than just winning on the court.
Coach McKay hates the attention.
I know.
I love that he has to get all this attention.
I love
He's got to deal with it.
Like he's got to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what? Sorry, you were good.
Yeah.
You've won 260 games. This is what you get. You know what I mean? Let everybody just talk about you and make a big deal out of it. Like, sorry.
You know, next time I see him, I'm going to really pump his tires
You
up.
should. He'll hate it.
Yeah, I'm just
absolutely hate it.
And then I'm going to pull some people over while I'm pumping his tires up to pump him up even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
the best part, I don't know if you guys saw the locker room video with all the guys spraying him with water.
It. Yeah.
2 things that stood out to me about that video. First was trainer Aaron Schreiner, who was in like the bathroom area. It looked like he may have been just like brushing his teeth or something. And then all of this happens and you see him like looking over, like what's going on? The other was somebody gave Gabriel McKay a little shot to the face right at the end of the water bottle. And it went from like fun to Gabriel had a brief moment where I thought he might fight somebody.
Yeah.
Like somebody gave him a little squirt right at the end and he got like, and then he kind of, like there was a quick, he got sprayed in the face, and he was like, "What's like?" It turned for a moment. That was hilarious.
I did see that look in G's eyes. But I'd love that video. If you haven't checked it out, go to Liberty Men's Basketball Twitter.
And also, just want to say, real classy. Jeff Meyer, you may have seen as well, sent a video in congratulating Richie McKay. Like that guy's a legend in his own right. Like he had it real tough back in the day.
Yeah,
taking the program to Division I and all he accomplished. Obviously, people forget how bad this program was when Richie McKay took it over for the second time 10 years ago. It was in the dumpster, and he brought it back and did so quickly. So for those 2 guys to be the top 2 guys in terms of wins, you feel really good about that if you're Liberty Flame with the type of guys.
But, you know, here on the Flame Central podcast, we have to ask those hard-hitting questions. So is Richie McKay's job still on the hot seat?
Stop. Why you got to bring this up?
Why do you do this?
Why do you got to bring this up?
260 wins, winning as head coach. We're above 500 now in CUSA place, but he is still really has to bring it. Or
lest
we're gonna have to have Ian McCaw on the podcast and ask him.
Lest we forget that back when you said it was a absolute dumpster fire, there was one fan in the student section. You remember the day? McCracken. I mean, I went to a game, and there was one fan in the student section, and that was
he showed up for a game this year.
Did he really?
I think it was a Western Kentucky game we lost.
This thing was in rough shape when it was taken
Look at Sparky back here.
Oh, what Sparky took a dive.
Yeah. Well, Sparky happens. Sparky.
Just get him back on his feet. Okay, Liberty women.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, they're tied with Middle Tennessee at 6-1, Western Kentucky 5-2, La Tech 4-4. So things are very tight on the women's side as well. I don't know. Is this the year that the women can get over the hump? We're just going to have to see. The last regular season game of the year at home for the Lady Flames is against Middle Tennessee.
That's going to be big, and you got to take care of business to get to that point, certainly.
Right.
But yeah, to have it on your court, Middle Tennessee slipped up against Western Kentucky, so it gives you an opportunity, and then we'll see what goes down in Huntsville. But yeah, women playing well, shot 58% in that game against FIU. Emma Hess, 16 points. They've been very balanced, and so yeah, we had Emma on last week. I feel like that we contributed to that performance in some way.
Yeah.
And excited to see what they do. They get, just like Liberty, women at home this week. So get out there and see them. They get Kennesaw and FIU. Kennesaw and Jacksonville State. Both those teams 3 and 4 in the league. So they're in the bottom half of the league. So want to see the girls come out and just continue to take care of business at home. Like they did this past Saturday.
And Emma Hess, like she said, sleeping in her own bed. You have to think that those girls getting 2 weeks at home.
And they were fighting a lot of sickness, too. I talked to Kerry Green on Friday, and he was struggling. So
I'm telling you, something is going around, and you think you're getting better, and then you'll regress.
You were battling. People don't know. Let me just say this. People don't know. Emily Austin last week was just grinding through the week.
I was talking to
She was just taking it. She was taking it day to day. We weren't sure. It was all touch and go. Will I be at work? Will I not? Which that part of it is normal, but usually that's unrelated to illness. And she battled through. I'll give her credit. She's a gamer.
I'm going to be here next week, and then I think I'm going to take another week off.
Okay.
So you take your next week off. I'll take the following week.
I got this trip planned, and you guys are trying to put this evil on me. Do not.
No, you got to stay in.
Do not put this evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Do not.
You got to stay in. All right. Rachel Roupe is going to join us in just a moment. But football spring game.
Yes.
It's so weird, with this staff. They do things so much earlier for spring ball.
Quick.
It is like go time. Back to business for Liberty football. Spring ball will start up mid-February. But
that's what they get that indoor.
Yeah, you got to heat that indoor. And then the spring game will be on Saturday, March 1st. Matt, give me a time.
1:30.
1:30 kick.
Yeah.
So
one other thing quickly to add to that. We got the chance to meet a lot of the newcomers, the transfers for little media training. I think people are going to really like this group. I think a lot of really, really solid guys and some interesting stories. I think that'll come out of that as well. So I think this is going to be a fun group to watch.
And great nicknames, I think, coming your way, Yacht Talk. I think so, yeah.
That's true. That's the best part. A fresh batch of guys that Yacht Talk can start to come up with nicknames that may or may not catch on.
Take a Ride, My Bentley Henshaw had run its course.
It's
a great nickname.
I love
it's
that
a great
one.
nickname. It's Bentley Henshaw. He's senior.
So
but we do have that's my boy Blue. Yeah. He's back, and then
Billy Coolhand's
Billy
done.
Coolhand's done.
He's done.
Right, yeah. So we have a whole fresh.
This is what you do during the off season
of nicknames coming up.
Yeah. Speaking of nicknames, our next guest has a great one given from Joe Yock. Let's hear from Rachel Roupe. As promised, the CUSA Preseason Player of the Year, Rachel Roupe.
Thank you.
Tell me where the party's at. Roupe, there it is. Roupe, there it is.
That's actually so funny you did that because my parents played at their wedding.
What? It's meant to be.
Were you there?
No, that was good.
I was
really
gonna ask,
good.
as people, have they ever done that before? Joe.
How do you know that, Rachel?
Yeah.
They told me because I was gonna make it my walk-up song at one point.
Thank you.
Well,
now it is. Now it is.
Joe can get in the studio. You need Joe to get in the studio and kind of like, put something together. He could do that.
Roupe, there it is.
DJ Jay Mix-a-Lot ain't afraid to mess around.
Okay.
Scratch it up. You got to make that your walk-up song now. That'll lock.
What is your walk-up song?
It's Desperado by Rihanna, and it's been that every year.
Yeah,
you know what, though?
I know,
hold up.
that's the thing. It's been it every
Don't
year.
mess with the good thing, Rachel.
I know.
Tell me where the party's at. Roupe, there it is. Roupe,
We're
going to hear it a lot.
Okay,
this spring. We're going to hear it a lot.
Don't mess with the good thing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh. Rachel, thanks so much for joining us. First time guest on the Flame Central podcast, so that's exciting in itself. So you're announced preseason player of the year. Mm-hmm. Is there any extra pressure, or do you like having that high honor going into a season?
Honestly, I just try to I look at it, I recognize it, but that's not gonna get our team to the World Series. And so I have to look more at the bigger picture, and it's really cool to get that kind of accolade, but it's also preseason and it doesn't really matter until you do it. So, and I got that last year And so it's just good. I mean, it's good to see, but also take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I just want it to be known, I went on the warpath last year. I felt like you should have gotten Conference Player of the Year. You'll remember this.
I do.
I was very adamant. I had stats to back it up. I don't remember what they are right now. But so this year, let's get it done. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
7th straight year, your team has been picked to finish first.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about expectations.
Yeah.
Now at this point, is it kind of like, I'm sure early in your career it was probably like, whoa, big deal. We're picked to finish first. At this point, do people even notice, care? Like, what is that? I mean, it doesn't mean anything in terms of the season, but how do you respond now knowing that that's just kind of the normal?
I mean, we're well prepared for it, and it's just a standard on our team. So, like, my freshman year, like you said, when I first came out, I was like, oh gosh, like, it's my turn to do this. Like, I've been watching Liberty prior to getting in college, and now it's like, it's our responsibility. But now it's just like, it's a standard, and, like, we're appreciative of that, but, like, we still got to prove ourselves. And so, like, we've lost games, like, last year that we shouldn't have lost, and we got humbled. So it's like, we kind of keep that mindset because, like, if we're like, oh yeah, we're number one, like, then that's when you get put on your butt. So. Yeah. So.
My next hard-hitting question is, why are you so athletic?
Why?
Like when?
Oh,
how did this happen?
My mom's gonna watch this and be like, so both my parents played sports growing up, but I think I got a lot of my skills from my dad. He played baseball. Baseball runs in my family. I have one of my cousins just graduated from UMBC. He was a pitcher for baseball. Okay. Another cousin played at NC State, pitcher, and then I have another cousin about to go to South Carolina. He's a pitcher, but he might get drafted before, we don't really know yet. But yeah, so it kind of runs in my family in that aspect. My mom says I get it from her, so for the video, I'll say I got it from my mom.
There you go, yeah.
But we'll just put that there. But yeah, my family's like my parents have both been kind of athletic growing up. So.
Well, you've been so fun to watch the last few years here at Liberty.
Thank you.
What's it gonna take, Liberty, to be able to? Had so many great games you won, but to go to that, and you say the pressure of being, or number one preseason is expected. What's it gonna take to go further to that next level for Liberty?
I think like the team as a whole, we need to get out of like what we're like ourselves, where it's like when we go into a game, like if I don't get a hit, I know the next girl behind me is going to do it. And I think if we start with that mindset early, then we're going to be successful, and that's going to become very natural, and we're going to be able to do that in postseason and keep going. I feel like sometimes in the beginning of the year, like everyone's trying to get their hits in and kind of get their stats rolling, and like it doesn't matter. Like somebody could be hitting lights out, but your team's not winning. And so like if we all together collectively like are not selfish and good in there and like play for each other, I think that's what's really going to push us. And like we almost did it last year, and that was like that left a bad taste. Like, oh my gosh, but we're going to keep going. Like that's what we have to do this year. It's just mindset.
How long did it take for you to turn the page on that?
Well, I'm here today talking about it still, so I don't think the page is very turned.
You gotta make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we use that for fuel. It literally felt like it was a heartbreak. Like we were in the locker room, like what just happened? Like it was very, I can't even explain. Like I sobbed after. I don't usually cry that much, but I was like, this is awful. But I think that it fueled us, and we're all like, we're not letting that happen again. Like it hurt, and then we're gonna just keep going. So
a lot of returners on this team felt that heartbreak.
Yeah.
What can you tell us just about the team mindset in general, other than you guys fueling that fire to get back and push further than where you guys got last year?
I think like togetherness and like moving as one, I think our chemistry is so good right now, and like we're all like the seniors are all friends with the freshmen, and the freshmen are all friends with everyone else, and that's super important. I think we're kind of like building that culture and that chemistry that it's more like a sisterhood, and that's what we have to carry forward, and that's what the mindset's been.
That's awesome.
How about, some new additions. Like people know you do have a lot of returners.
Yeah.
Who are some key additions you feel like, okay, better know this name because they're going to be an impact player?
I think all the additions we have been super essential. Like I think one person, because it's in my realm, like Paige Dorr in the outfield, I think she's filling MC's like shoes, who graduated last year, filling those shoes so well, and she's just a good person, and I really enjoy being out there with her. I think Savannah Watley, she has a lot of experience. She's coming here, and she's just a good athlete, and I think that she'll help fill shoes. I know like she's competing right now for spots, but I think she's gonna do great. Alyssa Hennel, her and I played travel like growing up all together, and so being back on the same team's been awesome, and I think that she's adjusted really well. And Haley from Virginia Tech, she's growing so much, and so it's awesome to see that.
Where are you from originally?
Maryland.
Maryland, okay.
Yeah.
So not
far. That far.
Yeah.
No.
So Dot Richardson, obviously still head coaching this program. What have you learned about Dot? So now that you're like an upperclassman, like tell us some.
Roopster, now you better be real careful.
Yeah. She's just one of the most consistent people I've ever seen in my life. Like, you know, you go on your visits and you're like, is she joking? Like, is she always like this? And then you see her in interviews and she's super upbeat. Like, she's like that every single day. Awesome. And like, negativity is her biggest fear. And I'm like, I have
what'd you say was her
negativity.
Negativity.
I'm like, I have way bigger fears than this. But I'm like, I'm glad that's your biggest fear. And so like, I know every day if I walk in her office and like, I'm not having a good day or something, like, she's gonna be consistent. And she's just, you know, we all might be doing like a drill and we're like, like it's hard, we're like don't want to do it, but she's like, let's keep going, ladies, and she always makes these sayings, and it's just great. Like she's honestly has like pushed me as a woman to like be stronger in my faith, be stronger in academics, and then softball as well.
So with that being said, when anybody's at the top of their game and you're player of the year kind of talk, there's a huge mental side of that, right? So when you see yourself getting into like pressure situations, right? Like it's all on the line.
Yeah.
What is your mindset or your mental attitude when you get yourself in those situations?
Well, first thing, like I've made it a point to work on my mental like health since I was like a freshman in high school. Like I've trained with my sports mindset coach. But like having a routine every time I get in the box, like I don't know if you guys ever noticed, like I take this very long like walk to dugout, and like that's kind of like me refreshing my brain and like getting like where I need to be. I'm not a player that can just like step one foot out and get back in, and I know that about myself. So it's like learning a routine, and like when I'm in those pressure situations, like not one at bat is more important than the other if you tell yourself that. So like my first at bat is just as important as me being in my last at bat and the score is tied, because if I hit a home run that first at bat and now we wouldn't be tied. So like it's kind of like it's all connected, and so not making the moment too big, because I have failed in big moments and then I've hit game-winning home runs, and I know how both of those feel, and it's kind of like find a consistent feeling and like keep a routine and knowing that you're either going to do it or you're not. And we're human, we're not gonna do it, and we're gonna do it. So
that's awesome. When I played softball, I had no routine. I literally, as the pitch was being pitched, I would guess like if I was gonna swing or not. Like I didn't even like read if it was like a ball or strike. I literally was just like, all right, I'm gonna swing at this pitch.
But other than that, she was really similar to you in terms of her athletic ability.
So then I started becoming a runner.
Yeah. What part of your game do you take the most pride in?
Oh, good question.
That's a really good question. Honestly, like I think keeping like a sound mind as much as possible. Like if I'm hitting and I don't get out, like if I get out and I go out in the field, like keeping my energy up for my teammates. And that's kind of like something that also helps me, because if I just like get quiet and I'm like, it doesn't get out of my head. And so like I think just being someone that's like constantly talking on the field, that's like kind of like the mental thing that I like take pride in. And then like hitting, of course, that's my favorite thing to do. So athletically, that's what I take pride in.
My moment is a segment that we do here at Liberty. I don't think we've done it with softball in a couple.
We
did do it with softball.
Yeah.
What was your moment again?
Well,
Virginia Tech, maybe?
No, I got asked that question like fall of my sophomore year, so I was only here for a year. And if I could go back, I would remake that video.
Okay,
let's
remake it. We gotta bring it back. What's your favorite moment?
My favorite moment for sure is the UCLA game. Like that will go down.
Yeah.
That was one of the best days of like my life. And I know there's only so many of those days, but like that is my softball best day of my life.
That shot of you, because you slid in to home, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that you? And you like popping up. And like that shot was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it hurt very badly, but it was so worth it, and it was one of the best moments of my softball career.
That's so cool.
Last one for me, Coach Dot always just like packs the schedule, right? With like SEC. It's like you play the whole SEC. Right?
Yeah.
You're like an honorary member of the
everything.
SEC.
Yes.
And so no different this year. I think your first 11 games are all in Florida.
Yes.
So starting
nice.
February
No,
7th.
it's
So
very
that
nice.
it could be worse.
Reporting live
Yeah,
from the Central
yeah.
Podcast.
Wait, so you
Breaking down
basically
goals.
get to spend the month of February in Florida?
Yeah.
So
I
how
mean,
do you guys
Dot,
still
go
do
ahead.
school? Or?
Oh yeah, we still do school. We have study hours and stuff. It gets a little complicated, but you kind of just figure it out. It's like that every year.
I guess everything just has to be online.
Well, folks, LU's got one of the finest online schools in the
There we
nation.
go.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
nobody set up better to do online than Liberty University, so why not?
Those games, though, how much we always say like, oh boy, Dot hasn't done him any favors. Look at his schedule, whatever.
Yeah.
How much do you feel like those games, win or lose, prepare you though for either conference tournament time or then hopefully when you get into regionals?
Yeah, they prepare us so well for that. Like I'm sure you guys have seen the records like through those first 2 weeks. Like it's a grind and it's like it's hard to keep like you lose more than you win sometimes. And so like it's a grind but by the time we get to the end of the year, like we're like, oh, okay, this is not Oklahoma. I'll be like, oh, okay, this is just Oklahoma, like let's just do it. Or like it gets to a point where you become numb to the name on the jersey and you just realize like they're just like me. Like the ball has to pass over the plate. It's one pitch at a time. Like you start to kind of simplify it as you get older and you see that kind of schedule over and over again.
That's a great mindset.
Yeah, like
Joe, you got anything else?
Oh, that's great.
Rachel, so this Friday we're shooting hot seats with you girls.
I heard.
So hot seats
heard.
get pretty interesting. Do you have any like good questions that, or like, is there any inside info I need to know about the team that's funny? Like,
I don't know.
inside
I'm really
jokes
bad
or
at this
themes?
stuff. I'm really bad at this stuff. I'm not.
Okay,
gonna
I'll just do
lie.
my job and figure it out
No,
then.
I-
I'll just figure out
she
the
was trying
questions
to
myself.
get you to help her out.
I know. You're doing. Who are you doing? Do you know who you're doing?
I have a list of like 6 or 7 of
Okay.
y'all.
Yeah, she's not letting
So,
it out yet.
Maybe.
So I do fun questions like,
Superstitions. I feel like there's a lot of.
that's a really
There's
good
a lot
one.
of superstitions
Okay.
on our team. I think.
Okay.
What do you have any other than your like routine?
Well, I like write on my wrist. I don't know if
You're giving away my.
Oh,
This is the
okay.
people
Oh,
who want to
You
watch.
are
People
one
don't-
of the-
don't take away from the hot seat.
Can I? Yeah, is that it?
I like write on my wrist. I have to read a devotion, and I've read the same mind book the last 3 years in a row. I just feel like it gets me. I should be changing it up, but every time I read through the whole thing again, I know it's just like it gets me right, and I'm like, okay, this is good.
I, on the other hand, when I played, I would go to Sonic and get a breakfast toaster sandwich before every game.
No
That
French
does
toast
not
sticks?
shock me one
In
bit.
retrospect, I probably should have done some of the stuff you're doing, like maybe read a book, but it didn't
What do
really
you do?
work out so well.
I have a mindset book that I read through.
I went to Sonic and ate a breakfast toaster sandwich.
I get into my routine. I keep it consistent, right?
You know, there's
I
no
get a
right or
Sonic
wrong
breakfast
way to do these things.
routine.
but yeah.
I was the Chunky Monkey champion though on my softball team. Do you know Chunky Monkey? Where you have to put like the cheese balls. You fit as many in your mouth
Why
and
am
you
I
can
not
say Chunky
surprised?
Monkey.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was
And-
Chubby Bunny.
Yes,
Oh,
I've
maybe
heard that
I was
one.
just
That's like
saying
the
it wrong.
Oh boy.
Chubby Bunny.
Yeah. That's,
Joe's speakless.
they
That's
didn't do that
rare.
at UNC, Joe.
Yeah,
Football
no,
team
yeah,
didn't
football
do
team
that.
didn't do
That wasn't
that.
part of camp.
Hey guys, here's what we're doing. You crazy guys.
Oh man, Rachel, thanks so much for joining us. So
Thank you for
excited
having me.
to see you
Thank
crush it again this
Kill it.
season.
Thank you.
Kill.
Thank
You want to do one more?
Tell me where the party's at. Root, there it is. Root, there it is.
Big thanks to Rachel for stopping by. I think she liked the.
She was great.
I think
awesome.
she's
Yeah,
great, but I
Rick's
think she
great.
liked the nickname song.
I think she
Yeah,
did.
I think we're gonna have to go take Joe Yock
Those
and
things
the
go
I
one
don't-
of two ways
Yeah.
usually when Joe does one of these bits. But yeah.
I don't know one that's failed, Matt.
Okay. Well,
I mean, we're gonna start. Let's start going down the board. I don't think you're trying to say they go one of two ways. I don't think. I think they only go one way.
Yeah.
I think they're a hit.
privately, we've had people reach out, but it's fine. Yeah, it's
You really don't know about this, but
Yeah.
sure, there are some that
We've
have probably
shielded
not-
you from a
yeah,
lot,
we
Joe.
shielded you
That's
from a lot.
actually why we have the email flamecentral@liberty.edu for you to send in your questions and
It's
tell Joe
kind
to
of
stop.
like
It's like in Rocky
HR
3.
hotline,
It's like in
yeah.
Rocky 3. Remember when Mickey he fought a bunch of bums?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Rocky didn't know these guys were
Yeah.
bums.
Yeah.
he
That's
didn't.
basically
Rocky
it.
really didn't
Yeah,
know
we're
it.
protected.
There's a lot of bums that you can buy a house and get your mortgage from out there, but
we
Joe
can name a
Yock,
few right now.
Joe Yock is not one of them.
Joe is not one.
He has all the deals up his sleeve. What can you tell us about if somebody's in the market to
And
buy a
he's
home?
sleeveless, so that's hard.
And I'm sleeveless right now. It's vest season. Yes, for all you folks out there, Liberty alumni, employee, staff, You come to alcova.com/Liberty, and you get a credit up to $5,000 off your closing costs. I mean, it's the best. What do I always say? We're cranking these things out like pancakes at the IHOP Sunday after church. Okay, it's almost. What is it? What, Matt? Put the camera on, Matt. It's almost
too easy. It's almost too easy.
No one loves me. What's the place that you get the shirts from that waffles are just pancakes with abs?
Oh yeah, did I get that one for you?
You got that from Matt, and you got me some ugly.
No, I got you a Bucky shirt.
Bucky shirt?
That's awful. The fact that you just said
why
that.
have I not ever seen you wear that?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's lime green.
I don't understand.
And it has like hippie flowers all over.
She complains about not getting stuff. You get her something, and then she complains about that. Right.
Oh my God.
I'm going back to you getting you local restaurant gifts because I know you appreciate that.
Oh my gosh, stop. I love my Bucky shirt.
Are just pancakes.
It's very loud. But I do love that saying. Waffles are just pancakes with abs. All right, you guys got anything else? Remember, no Joe next week, so we're going to have to really bring the energy. Is that true? Hopefully, we're getting him live from the slopes.
No, Joe will be back.
You will be back.
No. Monday. No, Joe won't be back.
Oh,
Joe doesn't really handle the scheduling in his house. Yeah.
Well, Matt's happy because his Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl.
They are.
Yeah, congratulations, buddy.
Congratulations.
I don't buy
that.
in Matt's defense, and trust me, I was cheering for Josh Allen. Everybody, every American wants Josh Allen to win. We get it, right? But you turned my son into a Chiefs fan, so he's a Chiefs fan. So he wears this. Can we go snowboarding? He wears his Kelsey jersey. The whole deal. It drives us nuts. But that's him. You did it. You did it.
Are you a Redskins fan?
I'm a Redskins. I'm a Vikings fan. Number one because my dad was coached by Bud Grant, old Vikings coach, legendary Hall of Fame Bud Grant. So I became a Vikings fan. But then we moved to just outside of D.C. and got to know the Gibbs family well. So I'm a Redskins. So those are my two teams. But with that being said, Matt,
rough company there.
No, I was there when they won all the Super Bowls. Yeah. I was there in the early 90s.
They're on the upswing.
When the Redskins were winning, when the Redskins won Super Bowls, we win. But this whole thing about the refs are in the bag, the NFL's in the bag for the Chiefs. She bought into it. I don't buy into it, Matt. I don't buy into it.
My whole family are Chiefs fans. My whole family's from Kansas.
Last year she was all, they only win because Taylor Swift, and they wanted all the Swifties. This year she's finding another. Here's the thing. It comes down to this, Joe. You know this.
Yeah.
Winners win. Yeah. Losers make excuses. That's the bottom line.
My whole entire family are Chiefs fans, so
you should get on board. It's a pretty good ride.
I stay loyal to my husband.
Wait, is this? He's a Redskins fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Is this the three-peat? If they win, has never been done before.
It's not even that.
It hasn't.
The Patriots didn't
never did. Not only that, no team has even gotten in the Super Bowl a third.
No way.
For to attempt the three-peat. This is the furthest any team has ever gotten, the closest they've ever gotten to a three-peat. And I'll take it one step further. Because as I laid in bed, unable to sleep last night, just fired up after this. The Chiefs this is their 5th Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes.
Numbers that matter.
He's been the quarterback the 7 years. The 2 years they didn't were both overtime losses in the AFC Championship game. So they are that close to having gone to 7 straight Super Bowls. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's the uncanniness and the ability because I saw the stat yesterday. They had 11 games, whatever, I think it was 11, that were one-score games.
They won 17 straight one-score games.
That's crazy.
It's like when it comes down to crunch time, you can, if you've been around football, you can feel it, right? You can feel like
the refs are going to give it to him.
No. And I'll say one, it's the Tiger Woods effect.
It's a little bit of the Tiger Woods effect.
The Chiefs know they can do it. It's who's on the other side knowing they can do it. And remember them Tiger in his prime? It's like everyone's like, oh, man, we know what's going to happen.
They see that red shirt on Sunday.
They do. Let me tell you something that drives me nuts.
Okay.
This drives me nuts. This is Joe
We're
Young.
Still on the podcast.
This is Joe Young, analyst coming out right now.
Yes.
There's nothing more that drives me nuts than when it's 4th and 1, and the Chiefs did this, I don't know how many times. They did it when he scored. They did it, convert 4th and 1. You're the backside corner. Corner. If anything goes to your right side, you're not making a play on anything. Yeah. You're not involved in that, right? If the only thing that could happen where you become involved is when the ball comes back to you, to your left side, right? And twice on the 4th and 1, They go this way, and he goes dipping down to the right side where he's got no business being. And then next thing you know, there goes Mahomes, dropping it out in the flat. First down. There goes Mahomes, running in for a touchdown. That drives me. Why are you involving yourself in trying to get your eyes in a play that you're not even, you have no significance in? The only thing that can happen is back on. It drives me nuts. Stop that.
We'll have some Liberty football to talk about here in the next month or so. It's going to be an exciting spring with all of the new additions.
I like the new additions.
The battle for who will be under center for the Flames.
Michael Merdinger. Watch out, guys. That's a name.
And we found out Merdinger.
What?
That's what he told us.
You said his name wrong the entire wasabi.
We said it wrong the entire.
You know what? Blame Jones Angel for that one.
Yeah, Jones, I'm coming down on you for that one.
Let me know if you need to know how to say any other team or player names.
Merdinger. Got it, Merdinger.
Thanks so much for listening or watching the Flame Central Pod.
It's a Central. It's a podcast. It's a Flame Central Pod.
We'll see you next week. I'm out.